Are we allowed to say who the? Or are you allowed to say who the moderate is?
Who the
Or your rival is?
CJ the X. Yeah, I can. That's a public rivalry.
Okay.
They're a really cool, YouTuber person. I don't know how to say it. They do like long form video essay stuff, and they're pretty similar to me. But we have like key differences, so that helps with. I think a good rival is like someone who. I've made a video recently about like relationships we should have but don't, and this is part of the broader theme that I've been exploring over the last few years, where I'm like, why don't we have as many social relationships as we should? And like, mentorship's been so important to me, and I look around at my friends and like they often don't have mentors, and a lot of people don't have mentors. Mentorship's like one of those relationships, but like rivals, that's like a good relationship. It's a little negative, a little like combative, but like there's still a fundamental respect underneath all of it. And it's like I like really respect my rival, and like when I get a big win, I like flaunt it a little bit, and then they're like, and then they want to like beat me, one up me. But like you always want to be a little ahead. You never want to destroy them and crush them like a worm. That's like an enemy. It's
very anime-esque. I would agree, right?
Yeah.
Like, does Ash exist if Gary isn't there to like drive him forward, or would Vegeta be the fighter he is without Goku there training in the background?
Exactly.
So it's like shonen. You're just a shonen character.
I'm a shonen character down to the injuries.
Having people there to challenge you, to drive you forward is a very like Dale Carnegie type thing. It's good to have having competition that doesn't absolutely and totally obliterate you, but motivates you to be better is always good. Yeah.
Yes, and as an agreeable fella, as someone who like wants to like people and get along with everybody, it's kind of a challenging relationship for me to have, but it's also really good for me because it helps me be like, more assertive, more disagreeable, like kind of incorporate my shadow a bit, I guess.
With your rival, is there like an actual like social tension at all? Like a dislike for one another, or how do you
Yeah, a little bit. Like there's like a little bit of like, ugh, like I almost want to complain about them, but I know it's coming from a position of like, we are just fundamentally different, like value wise. And I sometimes worry about like, what if a rivalry becomes like an enemy ship or whatever? Like that's not something you want. So what
do you mean by that?
Like what if something that like the enemy to rival to enemy pipeline, like someone who starts off being someone that's like generative becomes something that's like, we're trying to destroy each other now. You got to be careful about that, I think.
Gotcha.
Not that that's even come close to happening yet, but
okay. Do you guys talk? Like, do you guys?
Yeah, we talk. We're like, it's like we'll hang out and it's like a friendship, but then at the same time, it's like, we're trying to beat each other a little bit.
Okay. Interesting.
We're both making like albums and music and songs and stuff, and we're both like hardcore aesthetic artists, and we're both like similar subscriber number, yada yada.
What led you to getting into a mentorship with JJ?
I was hanging out in Ottawa, and I left a comment on one of JJ's videos where he was on the news with a mustache, and I was like, "You with a mustache looks like you are pretending to be you with a mustache." And he emailed me and he was like, "Oh, hey, I checked out your channel. Very, very weird, like very strange stuff." And then he's like, "You're Canadian, I hear. Like, where are you in Canada?" And I'm like, "I'm in Ottawa." And then he happened to be in Ottawa for a wedding. And then so we hung out all day. And at the end, I was like, "You're old and I want a mentor. I've been looking for a mentor my entire life." And we had a great conversation, even though we were like disagreeing on everything, and be my mentor. And so he was like, "Yeah, okay." And then, a year went by and we didn't talk that much, but I had some family issues I needed some guidance for, and I ended up calling him a lot. And then at some point we just started talking every day, and he's been so good for me, so helpful for me. It's just like it's just like a life-changing experience. And he's actually the reason I'm in Toronto, because he encouraged me to go there, and he knew I hated my hometown and I wanted to go somewhere else and build a community, and he knew I was really like interested in community and community building. So that's what I did, and I wouldn't have gone to Toronto if he didn't tell me to go, and it's been the best decision I ever made. And now I have like a YouTuber studio, I've got a good community around me. I don't feel like fundamentally lonely in the same way I used to. So yeah, it's been good.
When you say like mentorship, what does that look like specifically? Like, does he give you both business and personal advice?
Yeah. So, I mean, some mentorships are just purely business. It's like, I do this specific niche field thing, and you can like guide me in that one area. And I'm like, I'm a proponent of being polymentorous, you know, if you want to be. But you know, JJ is someone who is like similar enough to me in like a lot of ways. I almost feel like we kind of like made the same observations philosophically and then came to like opposite conclusions. So like perceptively, we're like in the same boat. But like he is someone that can talk me through my personal problems. So that's just lucky. Like that's like so because he's the kind of person that I would like to age into, you know, and in many ways, not in like every way, obviously, like no one, you don't want to just like, but like it's someone who can fast track you towards getting those those personality traits. So like, you know, like knowledge and like cultural literacy, and just like productivity. Like he's been publishing a video once a week, every week for 8 years without skipping a beat.
I think a lot of people have an issue sometimes when it comes to talking to, whether it's like a therapist or a friend or whatever, people feel like somebody doesn't get them or wouldn't be able to solve every problem for them. But I think there's an equal amount of utility in having somebody who is just good to talk to, because you can talk through your own thought process and they can ask the correct questions to kind of like move you in a certain area or move you in a certain direction to help you figure something out. So that's pretty cool that you stumbled into that or found that. Or did you ever have like a concept of having a mentor before, or were you talking to
I always knew I wanted it because I felt like I was walking a very lonely path with what I wanted to do. In my hometown, I didn't know anyone who was successful at like any kind of passionate job whatsoever, even a little bit.
Do you ever say where you're from?
I'm from Ottawa.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like the capital of Canada, small government town. Nothing.
No
really.
one's passionate. Is that because it's just infused by politicians?
Everyone gets a stupid government job, and then they do nothing. They literally do like 1 hour of work a day, and then all my friends, that's what they do. No one, like all my siblings, I watched every single one of my siblings get that job, and not like their lives at all, really, like not like their job. So there's like it's like meh, and you get a good amount of money, and you get all these benefits. And so it's like golden handcuffs, you know, that's what they call them. And I just knew I was artistically inclined and I would hate it. And I remember getting some internships in the government. And I just like cried when I got home. I was like, can't do this.
Did you go to college? Did you call it college?
I went to university. Yeah.
Okay.
I studied politicsism and mental healthism. No, I'm just kidding. I studied journalism.
Okay. Did you graduate?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And then right after I graduated, I was about to get a job, one of those jobs. And then I got made $60 on YouTube in one day. And I was like, I could just keep doing this. And then I kept doing that.
Did you start the studio that you have in Toronto?
Yeah.
Like you were the founder?
Yes.
Did you go like in a partnership or did you fully found it? Or like how did that come to be?
It's technically fully under my company. But
I see what you're doing. Very nice. Very nice.
What do you mean I see what you're doing?
Very nice. Very sneaky. Okay.
I say that I sort of founded it with Brogan, our Chad, who you met, because he was the first person I met that was sort of like a peer of mine oriented towards the same sort of community building function and someone who would like work with me in the long term. And I had been trying to find people like that for my entire life. And every time it failed miserably. And I was so beaten up and like, okay, there's no point in even trying anymore. I have to do this all myself.
Like failed interpersonally or what caused the failing?
Just like in Ottawa, like they just had a better, more secure option of just getting a
golden handcuffs. Okay.
Government job.
Yeah.
Where they did no work. So yeah, I don't know. I met him. He was just built different. And then that was like the inspiration I sort of needed to be like, okay, now I have at least one person. And then Gokanaru, he was like the third person who like joined and was like, okay, I'm super down. I'll put money into this, yada, yada. And now we all put money into the studio and we have a big space and the space is expanding. And yeah, so I'm content with that.
Is it you three right now?
It's 8 of us actually. 10 of us. 10. We have 10 people now. 10 full-time YouTubers. Paying into it and using the space, and we all get a corner and we all hang out all the time and we all have good relationships with each other, and there's been like no drama in like the last year, which I don't know if that'll last forever. But
oh, you guys are like living the wait, is it no girls?
We have girls.
Ooh. Do you have girls of the 10, is any one of them a girl?
No.
Okay.
There it is. No drama.
Do I have to? Okay. Okay.
There, I have no idea how much you know about my background, but I have a background in esports. That's technically where I came from. And I guess it's true in the streamer world too. Like the streamer houses and the gaming houses are always the dream. Like, oh my God, like we can be next to other people that are also playing 16 hours a day, StarCraft 2, League of Legends. Awesome. And then they in concept they're always so cool, and then it'll either be, this isn't women's fault, but it'll either be girl drama or it'll be some other type of interpersonal drama that for some reason it is like the fastest growing, most malignant cancer in the world, where things seem like so cool like 1 month ago, and then you talk to me like, yeah, I f***ing hate it here, like this guy's a piece of shit, and like everything falls apart so fast, and I'm like,
yeah, we're very aware of that. I think kind of subconsciously, just from growing up on the internet and seeing that happen so many times, though. I think we've like all subconsciously learned that like there's so many ways it can go wrong and sour really quickly, that we have all these, we have all these barriers in place, like no incest rule, like we can't.
Are any of you even related?
Well, and any of the
Boring.
girls, coming by, it's like,
Oh, never mind. You meant metaphorical incest.
So like none of you are like competing for the same individual.
no.
Gotcha. How do you guys do? Is it like dibs?
It's like
You
like
wouldn't
a
know
dib
about this,
system?
but it's called the bro code.
yeah.
I got it.
The bro
We're
code.
good. Yes, the bro code.
But we have girls that come by. Like one of the girls that's by all the time. She's an anarcho-capitalist, dark enlightenment Curtis Yarvin fan. And then one of the people is like a communist. So we're all over the place. We try to be ideologically it's like I'm trying to do some horseshoe theory live by bringing people together.
And then, so this is just a giant. What is the studio? Is it an apartment? Is it a warehouse? Is it a what?
It's an office building.
Okay.
Yeah. So we don't. None of us live together. No one lives in the studio. We all have our own separate places. If I'm getting overwhelmed by people, I just go home.
That probably really helps compared to like the streamer houses
Yep.
where you can't escape. I
Yeah.
feel like that's probably a really key difference for managing the drama.
I would never live with them. And it's like not because I don't like them. It's because I like them that I'm not going to live with them.
Yeah.
Do you guys do you collaborate a lot on content, or are you usually all kind of doing your own thing? Or
We all collab. And we're all writing like a book together, and we'll be on each other's videos all the times. Even if it's something small, like I'll read a quote on Sam's channel or whatever. We all collab as much as possible, and the collabs just happen kind of naturally. We don't really have to force them. It's just like we hang around each other, and then someone has an idea, and like, oh, we have to do that. So it's like I think that's kind of been always the dream of like how freeform creativity and like stuff happens.
It sounds like the dream, unironically, having a group of people together that are all working on a similar thing, and you guys, have a good arrangement. You said you've been together as this group of 10 for about a year, or as somebody?
Yeah, about a year. So a year ago, I moved to Toronto, and it was just me and Brogan, and we were working out of his apartment. So he had a basement apartment, and he just had like one little room that he likes. Okay, this is my space, but the rest of it, this is public space now. So we invite our friends over. We met a lot of people really quickly, and then we got like Okinaru. We got Duncan Clark, who's like he makes like iceberg tier list videos and stuff, sociology stuff. And then we got like Sam, we're in hell, and then we got Ben from Canada, who's like a movie critic. And then we kept expanding, and then we have like 10 people. They're all full time, and I guess we only got to 10 like a couple of months ago. So we're still kind of expanding. If anyone in Toronto is a YouTuber and wants to come by, you can come by.
Why I hear so many Canadians that get really mad, and I notice that both you guys call it Toronto.
Toronto.
Everybody I've met from Toronto says you're supposed to say Toronto.
Toronto.
You guys don't give a f. You guys are just.
I don't care.
No,
Okay.
who cares?
Do you guys, are you still looking for more people to join your studio, or have you ever like capped it? Or?
I might be. I'm probably a little too open. Speaking of women drama, I mean, like we had a group of women by one time, disaster, cat fights, 3 girls.
Like they were fighting each other, or
Yeah, they were
guys to fight each
infighting,
other?
causing problems. The 10 guys, everything's pretty solid. So I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I'm just observing here.
Is there any like hierarchy? Because you have various sized channels that are all like working together. So Gokanaro is like quite large, you're quite large, and I know you have like some smaller channels. Is there any sense of like hierarchy or anything like that, or is it just doesn't really matter?
We're all making full-time money from our channels, and I think that basically, whether it's whether it's one number or another number, it's the same. There's so much in common from just doing that you don't have to do much. You don't have to like put a hierarchy in place. If there is a hierarchy, it emerges naturally, which is to say, like if someone's like just
Between
getting started,
men.
between men.
Well, that's the hierarchy I'm interested in. I assumed you probably didn't establish a hierarchy. That would be really weird.
It's like so our newest member is actually fairly new. And so they're working really hard and they're in the studio every day and they're asking people for advice and stuff. But no one's looking down on him for being new. I mean, when I met Brogan, he had 60 subscribers. I always treated him like a peer immediately because I knew that he would make it. And like I was like, he's gonna make this. He's gonna make it. He's got it. Like I just can tell immediately. So I never looked down on him. I was just like, you're my peer. You're not even my mentee. You're my peer.
He's also a super cool dude. Me and Rowan had to film some stuff yesterday, and he like worked with us for like 3 hours, and he was super chill the entire time.
Yeah.
When he was working to help us do this thing, he's very much like disappeared into the background and did everything perfectly.
Yeah.
Like I can't. It sounds insulting, but it's a compliment if you know. Like I didn't even know he was there.
Yeah.
Like he worked with us so
So
well or whatever.
seamless.
Yeah. I was like,
Yeah,
oh,
he's
cool.
my handler. That's why I brought him along. I paid for his flight just to handle me. He didn't handle me well enough to tell me not to go on the scooter.
but he
though,
did stitch you up.
Yeah, he stitched me up. So, yeah.
Doing a pretty good job.
Yeah.
There is a lot of when you talk about the hierarchy stuff. I don't know how much you've gotten into the YouTuber world.
I only through Gokinaru. That's why I like having him around, like a drama
Sure.
streamer. Because I'm like some shit happens. I'm like, I don't want to watch the 3-hour-long Turkey Tom video about this. Like, Gokinaru, explain this to me in 15 minutes, please.
Okay, because there are definitely areas where you're in where everybody's like, that's the big YouTuber, and you can tell by the energy in the room that everybody's like, oh god, So people get kind of cringe about it. People can be cringe when they're small because they get jealous or envious. People can be cringe when they're large because they lord it over people or they
Yeah.
act like it. And
I mean, I was at VidCon this year, and like all different sizes of people kind of together, but everyone, if you know to associate with the right people, everything's kind of cool. And the other thing is, like, you can be small, but like you can have a lot of swag. Like, I was in the commentary YouTuber party, which I brought Taylor Lorenz to, which was really funny because everyone freaked out immediately. So like JonTron was there, and he's huge, but like he was like, oh, J-Reg, like I like you, and then like
wait, how long ago was this?
This was June, July.
Oh, okay,
Whatever
okay.
When was this?
Ask him to email me back.
JonTron, email her back. I'll do.
Oh man.
But like also Gokinaru is not that big. He's got like a couple 100,000 subscribers in the commentary sphere. But like because he actually makes high art, he's got swag. He's got the swag, and can end a man's career just by working on a video about him for a year. So, yeah.
Referring to this Nico video, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah, headshot, and then like next target, he's like lining it up.
Do you know who it is?
I do.
Oh,
But it's a
shit.
secret, right?
Yeah, can't tell you.
How often does he release videos?
He not frequently.
Yeah.
Not
'cause
enough.
He works so hard.
Yeah,
on
that's
it.
his problem. He's the Sneeko video. I like to get involved with the process of my friends, and so I'll give them deadlines and stuff. Like I'll be like, okay, you're gonna do a premiere at the studio in like 3 months. So just have a draft ready to show your friends, and then that forces them to get something out. I think he might have only gotten the Sneeko video out because I forced him to like create premieres for us to see. But like, yeah, he's always working and crafting and like.
Is he like a perfectionist?
He's a perfectionist. I view him like a sniper. Like he just like will like spend a year like setting up the perfect shot and then like.
One of the problems I noticed when I started hiring people for development work is there's always kind of the memes about how much people hated managers as developers. And I noticed after hiring workers, coders, programmers, whatever, that it's like, I very quickly understood why management existed. It's because a lot of people that have the talent to create stuff can't self-direct and they can't manage their time. And I even noticed when I'm trying to work on stuff on my own, I'm trying to make a scripted video for the January 6th stuff. And if you don't set hard deadlines, it's very easy because you're working on, it's like a creative project. You can go back and you can tweak and do over or add infinitely, right?
Yeah.
You can needle something to death or you can just keep adding or fleshing out.
Yeah.
And having somebody to set a deadline is very nice sometimes.
Yeah. And it's also, I have a second channel where I talk about art and just like making sure your art gets done. And that's my whole thesis on that channel is like finding someone externally, like beyond yourself. This is the only thing that works for me, to set you deadlines and be like, hey, I'm going to show you this in 2 weeks. And then just something like YouTube or something self-directed, like whatever you're doing on the internet, there's no one like holding, you're your own boss, whatever. So like, yeah, you like, that's what's been useful for me. And I do calls with people like clients and stuff now where I like talk to them about their art, and it's very fulfilling, very sincere, very genuine. And like, I'm just like, it's kind of like counseling them through their own project and asking them when they think they can get this done and then showing it to me then.
And it doesn't even have to be like a job type art. It could
Yeah.
literally be if they have one of those soulless government jobs, they can be working on a hobby or something on the side.
Sure. Yeah. No,
Like
that's
that,
a lot of them. That's a lot of the people I talk to. But yeah, creatives are, I sort of envy the handler situation. I want handlers. I want a bunch of handlers to just do the shit for me so I can just be creative, but like it never works out for me. I just always have to like figure out the logistical element of things myself.
I'm curious if you guys run into this problem. One of the classic problems of it didn't happen in pro gaming houses because to be a professional gamer is a ton of time and effort and everything. It happened a lot in the streamer houses where the unfortunate reality is when you found people that were really good handlers that worked really well on the management side, usually that a large part of their success was because they were personable and they got along with all of the on-screen talent, and those people would almost always basically migrate to becoming on-screen talent, and then you would lose all of your handlers to where this happens. I don't want to name houses. Well, it's not like a bad thing, but there were so like I remember like for offline TV, there so many of the people that they had working behind the scenes, they were like really funny, friendly, awesome people, and almost inevitably, do you know like Fedmeister?
No.
Oh, I don't know any of these names. So many of them have had like scandals and shit, so I don't want to like call out and it's like, that guy. But like these are people who became very, very, very successful, but they started off as being very successful behind the scenes. But then you get into this weird world where it's like I like this guy and he's so cool and I'm happy now that he's like talent and he's like making it on screen, but he was so good behind the scenes and now I lost that.
Yeah,
helper
you wanted him as a support, not a main character. Yeah.
Have you had that issue where you find people that are like Brogan or whatever, and now they're like, oh, he wants to make videos now and I just want him working for me?
I feel like I would love. Yeah, I kind of do feel that there's always a bit of apprehension of like, and like I think one day he could definitely surpass me and be like way bigger than me, and like I'll be like, will he forget me? I think about that all the time. I've got all those anxieties, but I want that for him as well because I want the best for my friends. But I don't know. I think I want the best, even if it's like inconvenient for me at the time. I want the best for them. So I hope they all get so big that they just are like, okay, bye-bye. I'm moving to America and never seeing you again. I'm just like stuck in Canada.
Is everybody that is out of your Toronto house, or the office building, are they all Canadian?
Yes, everyone's Canadian and they're all in walking distance to the studio. So we just walk there.
Awesome. They must have all moved for the studio.
Yeah. Well, some of them we picked the location because like maybe 4 of us were there, but like the other 6 moved.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's an office building, but you keep saying that you're expanding it. So do you have like basically other sections of this? I'm assuming it's probably like some sort of strip office that you can purchase into.
The landlord has actually taken an interest in what we're doing. He's like an older guy, like looking at what the kids are up to and thinking, okay, I want part of that. So, we're getting the roof of the building by the time I get back, and it's like
the roof. Oh, like you get to go up
like
onto
the roof with like another separate room on the roof, and then we're gonna do like it's like a good place to do like parties and bring people and show them like, hey, we have another room, and I don't know. So we're just like getting more and more of the building, and as we get more people involved, we also have more people paying into it, so we can buy more of the units.
Interesting.
It's almost like
crazy.
a little co-op.
Almost like a little co-op.
Yeah. Do you have to like take a vote or ask everybody?
Yes.
Like,
yeah. It's
truly a little
it's a
co-op.
direct democracy dictatorship.
is it like a 51% first past the post kind of thing, or is it like a NATO every single person has to be in agreement kind of thing?
Oh, it's first past the post. So it's the way it works is everyone gets one vote, majority rules. But if at any time I want to veto anything, I can.
Because it's in your name.
Yeah,
You're
because
king.
I'm the direct democracy dictator.
Yeah.
So I've never vetoed anything though. But I can. But I never will.
You're like the king in the UK.
Yeah, I'm like the UK king. Yeah.